Hey Lions fans, welcome into this episode of the Coaches Show. We're here with Coach Epperson, and we're going to talk a little bit this week about getting ready for the national tournament. So, Coach, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
The best part of the postseason basketball is the only thing that matters for you guys is the next game.
Right.
So, tell us a little bit how the girls have been preparing, their attitude this week.
The thing that we've been able to build to later in the year that's not as much something I've typically done is we've gotten to scrimmage a lot of playing. I think that's the big thing is you have to play well on the court. I'm a big drill guy, especially early in the season, working on different breakdowns of things. But when you get to this point in the season, it's really about how well you're playing. And so getting to 5-on-5 as much as you can, getting up and down the floor is really important. And we'll get into more of the details as we get closer to Mayville State as far as a couple of the details as far as matchups and all this, preparing for them. But right now it's really been about us staying in good shape because it's going to be a pretty big break between our last game and this game. Yeah. So making sure we stay in good shape and also just good game flow as well.
Yeah. You feel like they're focused, determined, really ready mentally, or?
Yeah, definitely so. We've got 3 players that play a lot for us that it means a lot to with Kalia and Pervine and KJ. Those
right.
3, that they have won this from the beginning. They've all been focused on the postseason. And now the thing is that they realize too is that seeding numbers are just that, they're numbers.
Yeah.
And so that to them it doesn't matter a whole lot. One of the big things we wanted was to make sure we were on a neutral floor. We can talk more about that, but they are really focused in on the fact of getting the best situation we can, but then we just got to go win the games. It doesn't matter who's across the floor from us.
Yeah, so playing off that with the neutral floor, I thought, from my point of view, John Brown in Arkansas is only 4 hours away, right? And so instead the NAIA is sending us to Kansas, 10, 11 hours.
Right.
But you might be indicating that that's preferable for you guys.
Well, there's pros and cons of each of it. The location of John Brown would have been nice. Also, competitive-wise, I think it would have been a very good matchup as far as that pod there. And we really thought New Orleans was another one, about 6.5 hours away, too. Instead, they took Georgetown, who was, 10.5, 11 hours, however far away it is. So it's like, sometimes it doesn't make sense as far as all that goes. But at the end of the day, getting a neutral floor is really nice. The Mayville State, we'll talk about later, it's a 10.5 hour trip for them there. It's 10.5 for us. So we're it's kind of nice as far as it's a neutral floor where nobody gets a home court advantage. Last year, that was the one thing. We played great. We played really well that time of year. But we had to go beat Clark at Clark. And so just like our men get that huge advantage this week at home, we had to try to overcome that. We almost did. But at the end of the day, it's really, really difficult to do. So hopefully this year we'll find out. That's the first time to get to be on a neutral floor. But
well, I think from what I remember in the tournament last year, there were 13 home court sites, and I think 12 of the 13 teams advanced.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So it really is a big advantage for that team. Now, those are obviously the higher seeds as well.
That's true. So you don't know, is it the higher seed or the home court advantage? Like, which one is it?
But no, clearly it helps. It's
definitely.
Bad.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you like to do on a long bus ride? How do you pass the time?
How do I pass the time?
About Coach
Well, it just depends. I used to try to read, but as you get older, it's just very difficult to read on the bus. So 2 things. The productive part of me will download film to my laptop, and then I'll watch the film there. So it's a good time to do that. And sometimes, it used to be on the bus rides, like if we're playing a Thursday, Saturday, I would go ahead and start getting on the Saturday scout and work on that scout on the bus.
Okay.
Now, the non-productive side of me would binge watch different shows, whatever it might be. So usually I'm more of an action type fan, so we'll get some of those on there too. So, they're long bus rides, so you get to do a little bit of both. You can do both things well. So.
All right, well, we've been talking about Mayville State. Just tell us a little bit about what you know about them. Just research last night. It seems like some of the things that they do really well on offense are the things we defend well, right? They shoot from 3 really well, and we defend the 3 really well. So
I think that will be the thing that's going to be, if you're a fan, this is going to be a fun game to watch because it is different styles playing against each other. One of the things, too, we'll just start about this. We have not played a single game all year against a team that played zone from the beginning of the game to the end. Campbellsville typically does. They're one of the teams that zone the most. But even them, they come out of it.
Here, they stopped, you guys scored 20 points the first quarter, and they were like, we got to get out of it.
So they run zone, probably one of the top 5 in the country as far as, but this team runs more zone than anyone. Okay. I went through every clip. I cannot find a clip of them play man all year.
Okay.
And so that's going to be interesting. Yesterday we were talking about our scrimmaging. I think we made 16 threes yesterday in the scrimmage we did against the boys' practice squad. And the girls were like, we hope they play this the whole game. I'm like, well, we'll see. I mean, they haven't. We have no clue what they do if they come in a man because they haven't played it all year. So that'll be one part of it. The part you were alluding to is they do score a lot. They love to run in transition. They play a lot of 5 outs. And so, like, they've got a really tall. Originally, we put her down as a point guard. We're going to describe her as a post, but she's about 6 foot and has guard skills. And so that's a tough matchup. They've been zoned a lot this year, which is really weird considering they do shoot the ball so well. We'll see what we do. We're not going to say it on camera, but that's typically what we don't do, is we don't usually zone people. So because we do take away the three-point arc a lot. That's been a big part of what we do. So.
Well, your defense has been one of the tops in the country in terms of points allowed or the massey ratings that we've talked about before, holding people below their average.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know that you necessarily have to do anything different. But to your point, if you're not making threes against their zone, if that's what they're going to play, or if you, I think against Campbellsville we had a lot of success getting the ball inside to Kelsey and Kaylee. And so
I know that's the other thing, part of it too, that our girls did a better job as we were scrimmaging yesterday. Is like, okay, we've got to find ways to keep getting the ball inside, because if this is not going in, we have to be able to do a good job of that too. And they did. Our girls do a good job. One principle we do, it's a little bit different others offensively, is everybody is always about having a high post flasher, right? It's big, having somebody against the zone. I believe in that halfway. I believe there are times it's good to have it open. And that's where I think we have an advantage at times, because if you leave it open at the high post, it allows you to drive. The bottom of the zone comes up, and then you're able to have 2 people down there. Exactly. So it's one of those things that we are very strategic on what we do with the high post, because we feel like that is the real estate you've got to own, and you have to make sure you're doing something you want to with it. Don't just stick somebody there just to say, I've got somebody in the high post. It needs to be somebody there for a reason, or it needs to be open for a reason so you can use it to attack in that spot too. So,
well, good stuff. Obviously you have to win 2 games to move out of the pod here to get to the final site. So what as a coaching staff do you do, if anything, to get ready for that second game?
Yeah, so typically you do start taking a peek ahead. We've already made out the written scouting reports for both the teams that could potentially play the next round. So those are already produced. We can start working on that, watching some of the film, especially as we get later in the week. Once we think the hay's in the barn basically for this one as far as all of our prep work. Because sometimes you can get to where you've watched so much of it, it's almost a good brain break to go ahead and watch the next one because you've watched so much. At this point, I think I've watched 7 or 8 complete games at Mayville State and all these different clips. So I'm not there yet, but I've seen a lot of them where I'm like, okay, it's by Wednesday, Thursday, I'll have seen plenty of it, so we'll start getting ready for LSU, Shreveport, or Tabor. You typically will try to prepare a little bit more. This is kind of the cheating part of it. Obviously, the higher seed, prepare a little bit more for them, because there's a better chance you'll play them too. So I will say our disadvantage we're talking about kind of off camera too is not as much film on some of these teams, so you got to start doing a little bit more homework to try to find that film. So that's where you got to work on it early too, to make sure you've got the resources you need.
Something to watch.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, good luck. That game is Friday at noon Central, right?
Correct.
Okay. And our fans, if they want to watch the live stream, have to pay for that, but we'll get links posted on our social media for all where we can find it.
It is half price of what you'd have to pay in person. It's $20 a ticket there.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's the neutral site then, right?
The neutral site.
They've got to sell
exactly.
something.
They got to make some money off it. Yep.
Okay. So. Well, let's play Remember the Statline then one more time. We've had some fun with this. So, March 7th, 2023.
Okay.
FHU 74, Northwestern 64.
All right.
So national tournament game last year. Who was our leader in points?
Ooh. Was it Madison or was it Rachel? It was one of those two.
Nope, neither one of those.
Neither one of those two. Man. I don't know who it was. Was it Reagan Purvine?
It was Reagan Purvine. Had 16. Yeah, I think
nice.
Rachel had 15, Madison had 14.
Okay, so they're all close. Yeah, I was about to say we were real balanced that game.
Leader in rebounds.
Leader in rebounds. Ellie Chumley?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, good.
She had 7. I thought that was really impressive. Your freshman post player.
Yeah.
First national tournament game.
Yeah.
Leading rebounds there.
Awesome.
Leader in assists.
Leader in assists. KJ White or Rachel Satterley? We'll say KJ?
KJ had 4.
All right.
That's correct.
Nice.
All right, I thought this was really interesting. Team overall field goal percentage.
Ooh, it was really good the first half. I'll I want to say over 50%. We're going to say 53?
54%
54%,
yeah.
Okay.
And then this was what a team 3-point field goal percentage.
The first half, it was unrealistic. I mean, it was like in the 60-something percent. I don't know if it stayed there. We're going to say high 40s, though, like 48.
No, it was 57.
57.
So you were better from 3 than you were overall.
Overall,
so
yep.
You win a lot of those games.
Well, that was one of those games where we're like, okay, we're shooting it really well. Like, this is okay. We can keep shooting threes. So.
And then, obviously, we alluded to this a little bit, but then the next game you played Clark. How did Clark finish the tournament last year?
Clark won the national championship.
Right. So, now I don't know, how do you feel about this? Because sometimes it's sort of validating, like, hey, we lost to the national champions.
It's been both, because our girls watched those games later on. Like, they destroyed Campbellsville later on.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
right.
It was
and you guys only lost by 5, 4?
5. Yeah. And we were up by 8 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And our girls took some pride in the fact that, well, we did lose to the team that won it all. But you also, the other side, you're like, if we beat them, we should have won it all, or we could have won it all. Right. So you got both sides there. So
okay. Well, thanks again for doing this. Really appreciate it. I know it's a lot of work this week to get ready for the national tournament. Sure. And like I said, we'll post some links on our social media pages for the game, to stream the game, noon on Friday. And good luck to you guys.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. If you're looking for more information on FHU athletics, you can go to our website, gofhulions.com, or you can follow all of our social media accounts at gofhulions on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you want more information about the Director's Circle or linebackers, there's a link in the description below, and there's also a video with more information that should appear on your screen right here. Thank you so much for watching today. Go Lions!